What does it say when the most watched sporting event in America quietly removes its commitment to ending racism? What does it mean when a league that once championed social justice suddenly pivots toward a message that sounds good but says nothing? This year's Super Bowl is making headlines, not just for the game, but for a move that many are calling a slap in the face. And now, some are saying the only answer is to boycott. Let's talk about it. Before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome to Life Points with Ronda. Make sure to subscribe, follow, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. You can also find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my website at Life Points with Ronda. And if you want to support the show, check out my Patreon. Now, let's get into it. Super Bowl Sunday is more than just a game. It's a cultural event. It's the one night a year when sports, music, and politics collide on the grandest stage. But this year, it's not just about football. The NFL has made a quiet yet deliberate choice. For the first time since 2021, the phrase, "End racism," will not appear in the end zones. Instead, the league has opted for "Choose Love, and it takes all of us." At first glance, it might seem like a harmless change. After all, who would argue against choosing love? But when you look deeper, you realize this is part of a larger trend, a shift away from real social justice in favor of soft, non-committal messaging. So here's the question. Is this just a coincidence? Or is it a calculated move to silence a movement that made too many people uncomfortable? This isn't the first time the NFL has played both sides of the fence when it comes to social justice. Remember when they blackballed Colin Kaepernick for kneeling during the national anthem? Remember how they denied that it had anything to do with race or his political stance? Yet, years later, when the world erupted in protest after the murder of George Floyd, the NFL suddenly wanted to be on the right side of history. They put "End Racism" in the end zones. They encouraged players to speak out. They made commercials about inclusion. But now, in a post-Trump 2024 America, that's all starting to fade away. The message of ending racism was too strong, too direct. And with Trump back in office, pushing his agenda of dismantling DEI, the NFL is conveniently softening its stance. Let's be clear. This isn't just about football. This is about corporate America bending the knee to political pressure. This is about a league that cares more about keeping sponsors happy than standing up for the people who made it great. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Donald Trump. The NFL's decision comes at a time when Trump is aggressively attacking diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. One of his first acts in office was signing an executive order to dismantle DEI programs in the federal government and to pressure private corporations to do the same. And guess what? It's working. Walmart announced that it will not be renewing its Racial Equity Center and will no longer prioritize race or gender in hiring practices. Amazon, Meta, McDonald's, and Target have all scaled back their DEI initiatives. Google just announced it would eliminate diversity hiring targets for government contractors. This isn't a coincidence. This is a coordinated effort to erase progress. And the NFL, instead of standing firm, they folded. They didn't want to risk upsetting Trump supporters. They didn't want to deal with conservative backlash. So they erased end racism and replaced it with something safe and meaningless. But here's the thing. Racism isn't over just because the NFL stops talking about it. Injustice doesn't disappear just because corporations decide they don't want to deal with it anymore. And this brings us back to the question, what do we do about it? Now, let's talk about the idea of boycotting the Super Bowl. On one hand, it's hard to ignore the hypocrisy of watching an event that's actively distancing itself from social justice. If we keep watching, aren't we just telling the NFL that what they did is okay? On the other hand, we know that boycotting is complicated. The Super Bowl isn't just about the NFL. It's about the halftime show, the commercials, the entire culture surrounding it. But here's what we need to ask ourselves. If we keep supporting institutions that turn their backs on us, what message does that send? Historically, boycotts have worked. The Montgomery bus boycott led to desegregation. The economic boycotts of apartheid South Africa forced a government to change. And in 2020, the NBA players' strike forced real conversations about racial injustice. If enough people make noise, if enough people say this isn't okay, the NFL will have to listen. So, should we boycott the Super Bowl? Maybe. But at the very least, we need to hold the NFL accountable. Boycotting is one option, but there are other ways to push back. Here's what you can do. 1. Demand accountability. Call out the NFL's hypocrisy. Use your social media platforms to ask why they erased end racism. Contact NFL sponsors and ask them where they stand. 2. Support Black-owned businesses. Instead of spending money on Super Bowl parties with big corporations, support Black-owned businesses. Buy from Black-owned brands, restaurants, and entrepreneurs. 3. Keep the conversation going. Don't let them sweep this under the rug. Talk about it. Write about it. Make sure the message doesn't die just because the NFL wants it to. And 4, vote with your dollars. The NFL cares about money. If enough people demand change, they will listen. Support companies that stand by DEI and stop supporting those that back away. The NFL wants us to believe that choose love is an equal replacement for end racism. But love without action is just a word. And choosing to ignore racism doesn't make it go away. So, what are we going to do? Are we going to sit back and let these corporations erase our struggles? Or are we going to make them understand that our voices still matter? Let me know what you think. Should we boycott the Super Bowl? Or is there a better way to send a message? Hit me up on LifePoints with Ronda on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my website. Let's keep this conversation going. And as always, remember, your voice matters. Stay informed, stay empowered, and stay phenomenal. Thanks for joining me on Life Points with Ronda. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more relationship tips and life advice. Looking for more in-depth conversations and exclusive content? Visit my website at lifepointswithronda.com. Discover insightful podcasts, blog posts, and resources that will help you build stronger relationships and improve your daily life. Join our community on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for daily inspiration and updates. And remember, Every relationship starts with you. Let's make life better together.